Yeah, motherfuckers were like, wow, he's doing chair reacts. Meanwhile, I'm like fucking getting handcuffed and slammed to the fucking ground by cops, screaming at them, telling them do not enter the house because the cameras are on. Uh, and uh, and of course you don't like I've deliberately kept it a secret for a very long time because and you will never see the cops because like you don't want to give anybody the satisfaction. You don't want to give anybody the satisfaction of like knowingly doing this and succeeding in doing so. So yeah, of course I ate it for years and years and years and in his life. The always on work schedule, the paranoia he feels about his private life being overrun, the doxing and the swatting, the volume of vitriol he receives daily from right wingers demanding that the government arrest me because I'm a terrorist and that Twitch banned me. I wonder to myself if his fitness and diet regimen are attempts to counterbalance the stress he puts on himself. The answer is yes, by the way. That is precisely what keeps me grounded. My family and my loved ones, and also my rigid schedule that I abide by is precisely what keeps me grounded no matter what. That's why I've been able to maintain a positive mental health, positive mental space in spite of being able to do this for 8 fucking hours a day. It's crazy. He said in the past that he eats exactly 1.1 pounds of roasted chicken breast with low-carb pita, mezza, and sauces for lunch every day. Still, he thinks the Make America Healthy Again movement is full of fucking charlatans. Medicare for all, TRT for all, Ozempic for all, HRT for all. That's my argument. Yeah, you're a bot. Thanks, Chatter. Thanks, Natural69. You, on the other hand, are not. Piker can't get lost in thought for long. Our interview made him late to start streaming. His viewers are angsty as fuck. Piker pops us in and attempts to film an Instagram video to announce the stream. Fuck, he roars after the app shuts off midway. He shoots it again, then launches the stream, blitzing through the news. Sydney Sweeney, white supremacy ad. Texas Democrats fleeing to avoid arrest. White women posting Nazi salute selfies on X. A viewer sends him a link that turns out to be a Grindr audio clip. That viewer is Nandre. Fuck you, Nandre. You made it to the goddamn Gentleman's Quarterly article because of your goddamn fucking sane clip that you sent me. I don't know if I can show this. What is this, Piker mumbles? You are fighting for the people in Gaza who are starving for food, the audio clip begins, but you forgot about me, the need that I have for a cock in my mouth. Piker goes silent for 10 seconds. That'll be it for today. Some things are better left on watch. Soon, I get up and leave. I walk out, and Piker is kept it a secret for years and years and years. It's just a normal part of the process, alongside death threats that I receive with regular frequency. Anyway, but there's a reason why many streamers keep that stuff a secret, because it creates copycats. Anyway, the incident led him to cancel a trip to Cuba, fearing that it could be used as an example of him visiting a state sponsor of terror. He's certain he's being surveilled by government entities. I've had brushes with federal law enforcement, mostly around the death threats that I receive, Piker says. But in those conversations, they elaborate further. They're very knowledgeable about who I am and what I do. Is it the FBI? I cannot confirm nor deny, he demurs. It's so funny that it's like me talking about getting swatted, me talking about like death threats, me talking to members of law enforcement, allegedly the FBI, who knows? And then right underneath it is a picture of me naked in my bathtub with a rubber ducky. While he's unfiltered and earnest while streaming, Piker has managed to keep his off-stream activities secret, refusing to air out his private life with friends or paramours the way that many of his peers do. So when I first arrived at his home in the morning, I was surprised to find his mom, Ulker, an art scholar, just chilling in the living room. She complimented me on my shirt and asked what it referenced. When I told her Drain Gang, the experimental Swedish music collective, Piker went into hysterics. During our interview, I try to squeeze out whatever intel I can find about Piker's romantic life, which is feverishly gossiped about on Reddit. I asked point blank if he's dating Valkyrie, the massively popular gaming streamer, and he looks freaked out. Oh, come on. Please don't put that in the article, Piker says. For obvious reasons, there is a lot of speculation on all of the female peers that I have in this space that I regularly have on stream, that people who have incredibly parasocial bonds with content creators routinely speculate on whether I'm romantically involved with them or not. Obviously, I don't want any sort of hate going their way. I don't want the psychopathic haters to fucking go after these people, which is precisely why I will always spike when asked questions like this and say, I keep my private life private. Everybody knows I'm dating Austin. But it's you know, there's a reason for it. Like I don't entertain this stuff at all. And the reason is obvious, because people are incredibly fucking vicious. Oh, come on. Please don't put that in an article, Piker says. I just want to keep certain things private. I don't even want to fuel speculations. Think of me as an asexual being. He plans on settling down eventually. I mean, I literally told him. I told him straight up before the interview as well. I don't talk about my private life. If you ask me like even names or anything directly, I'm not going to answer it. And as he said, like, this is a common meta on Reddit, common speculation. But the reason why I will never confirm nor deny or just never confirm anything about my private life is because there are a lot of fucking active psychopaths who literally go after every person that's on the stream, but especially women, including Cutie Cinderella, who is in an open relationship with another content creator, Ludwig. People literally speculate on that and go after them and literally fucking constantly attack them viciously. Okay? Not respecting me. I think this is supposed to be irreverent. And therefore, the tone of it comes across as a lack of respect. But I have plenty of articles in serious outlets that have been written in ways where it shows a lot of respect. And this is supposed to be fucking, it's GQ. Like, the tone of it is supposed to be kind of snarky and kind of silly. And I think it reads very well in that regard, especially because first and foremost, the thing I care about is that they very clearly define my worldview, and it is in good faith. It's not in bad faith at all. Because if this was like a negative tone, if this took a negative tone, crazy that you have 27K viewers, such a left-wing Nazi. No, don't ban that guy. I'm unbanning that guy. That's awesome. The reason why I say this is because, like, if it was negative, they could have just fucking slammed this chock full of shit. Like, Hassan said this and that. He loves Hamas. He loves terrorism. All this stuff. It doesn't take that tone or that approach at all. It very clearly shows what I believe in. It very clearly says that I am authentically engaged with the commentary space and the things that I advocate for. It's like, yes, I'm stubborn and hard-headed, but also it doesn't mince. It doesn't like chop up my words or my ideology in any way. So it's ultimately, I think, the tone that people are stuck with, or that one moment where it's like, don't ask me about that sort of thing. I don't talk about that sort of thing. That moment is like, that's typical journalism. It's like, it is what it is. Anyway. I don't know why people say it's bad. I mean, I think it's very good. I like it. Yeah. Dude, look at this. This alone is perfect. First, they will take out or erode some of the constitutional protections, whether it be due process, birthright citizenship, and the First Amendment. Then they'll rebuild the legal system to their advantage in a way that suits their white nativist agenda. That's a direct quote, down to my unconditional, uncompromising defense of Palestinian emancipation. Most articles, most serious news outlets that have tremendous amounts of editorial control will not allow stuff like that to be written, okay? Especially when it's a positive profile. If you're giving a positive profile to a person and that person's worldview doesn't match with the agenda of the newspaper, they won't fucking cover it as such. Even the New York Times, when they were writing a positive profile on me in the style section, if you remember, said, Hassan makes a claim that Israel is doing a genocide, in air quotes. Do you understand? As he prepares to start up a stream for the day, Piker says, I wonder what this is doing to my brain. This is a gesture at the many vectors of anguish and evil. I don't think that this is appropriate. I don't think this is... They're an open like as in, guys, shut the fuck up. I mean public, okay? I don't mean like literally in an open relationship. I mean public relationship. Out in the open, okay? Out in the open relationship. God damn. Fuck. You know what I mean. Stop being fucking weird. So, that's it. That's the reason. Like, it could have been any name that this person brought up. The answer would still be the same, obviously, because it's not. There's a lot of people that I collaborate with that get like unfairly maligned and unfairly attacked and unjustly persecuted. There's fucking stalkers out there, you know, and they do the same shit as I described here to all of the other people that are involved with me. Okay. Anyone that I have on the stream, they're opening themselves up to this floodgate of fucking hatred. It's completely unacceptable. And especially because they are women, they get attacked even more aggressively. Okay? He plans on settling down eventually, shielding his family from the noise generated by his fame as much as possible. It's definitely something that I want. I would just keep it private. I would keep my child, potentially, if I were to have one, offline. The desire to safeguard his inner sanctum makes sense, given how many influencer overlords have Piker in their crosshairs. Maybe his most deranged beef this year was with Ethan Klein, the popular content creator or former co-host of their old joint podcast, Leftovers. The feud started over Gaza. Both call it a genocide, but Klein has called Piker a terrorist sympathizer, and Piker in turn has called Klein racist. This is the most favorable interpretation of Ethan Klein's behavior, for the record, who has both called it a genocide and not called it a genocide, uncalled it a genocide, and spends every waking moment attacking those who have called it a genocide with regular frequency, calling them fucking racist. Anyway, the spat spiraled into online mayhem, sucking everyone in these creators' orbits into a vortex of toxicity. Klein will call you a token Jew after this interview comes out, Piker warns me. I did pay you $7 million to do this interview. Some have accused Klein of having a psychosexual obsession with Piker. He talks about my body and the way I look a lot, Piker says. I don't know why. Maybe it's low-hanging fruit for him. He was always a funny guy. He was never a big looker or anything. It wasn't part of his brand. So I never thought he cared about that sort of thing. But maybe after he lost the weight, his personality changed a bit. I genuinely don't know. Last time I talked to Ethan, he was fat. I mean, he still had his issues, but at least he was seemingly more empathetic. Now, this comes across like I'm fat shaming him, but I was actually sectioning off like fat Ethan as a separate entity than current Ethan, if you know what I mean. Like I wasn't like intentionally, I wasn't like trying to fat shame him. I was just saying like that was in my mind, that is a different person because of who he has become. Some people will say he was always that guy. I certainly was deluded and I was blind. Also, I didn't bring this up. He did, for the record. Like the journalist did. I would not have brought up Ethan Klein on this profile if it were up to me. Anyway, the Klein fight reveals just how insular and incestuous the world of streaming is. These beefs and online personae are the substrate from which Piker, the streamer in person, springs. He texts with AOC sometimes, sure, but his close friends aren't campaign strategists and professional politicians. They're the creators he plays basketball with, like Ludwig, Buddha, and the video game speedrunners like Point Crow, and the influencers. By the way, I didn't say that these are like my best friends or whatever, okay? He asked me who I played basketball with, and I told him the names, like, and then he just wrote it as though we're like constantly fucking hanging out. Like, it's so funny. Point Crow's gonna be like, what the fuck? And the Influencers Goes podcast, Cutie Cinderella, Will Nev, and Austin show. You could visualize the streaming world as a series of lunch tables or loose clusters of collaborators like the AMP Collective and the FaZe Clan. This world of influencers is its own Hollywood with a distinct cast of A-listers and cult faves. Piker recently attended creator Tara Yummy's birthday party at the Roosevelt Hotel. A weird collision between old and new school celebrity where FaZe Adapt and Jason the Ween sidled up next to Miranda Sings and Love Island contestants. Indie Sleaze documenter Cobra Snake shot the photos. In LA, Piker likes to hang out with the roomies, a gamer lifestyle streamer house run by people like Valkyrie, Fusely, and Tina Kitten. When he's in New York, he socializes with professional media world friends like Adam Friedland and the other cheeky stars of Leftist Paws, Chapo Trap House, and Truanon. Piker's thoughts are so frenetic, I can't help but probe him on anyone and everything, like whacking a pinata to see what falls out. He denigrates Asmongold and ContraPoints, praises I Show Speed and Joshua Citarella, says the fact that I watch the surrealist YouTuber JReg means I'm fried. I test him on a scatter spray of media heroes and villains. Curtis Yarvin and Peter Thiel, baby-brained, LARPing as educated people. Even William F. Buckley would make mincemeat of these guys. On one of his 3 desktop computers, he pulls up a long-winded X thread in which Yarvin called billionaires a censored version of the N-word. He didn't actually say the N-word, which is kind of funny, because I thought the point of wanting to kill cancel culture was so you could say the N-word as a white guy. He tells rich people that they're fucking gods, and rich people love hearing that from a guy who's maybe read one Nietzsche book or something. Yeah, I was linking him stuff IRL. I'm a linker. I mean, I do this literally with my friends where we just fucking sit on the couch and I show them like stupid Instagram memes and shit. You know? Red Scares Dasha Nekrasova and Anna Kachian. I don't think about them at all, but they're annoying and kind of dumb. I don't think they like me too much because I'm progressive and not a shithead. Zoran Mamdani. Big Z's the man. He's great. He's going to implement woke Sharia in New York. Very excited about that. All the buildings have to face Mecca. That kind of good stuff. Drain Gang. I can't believe you told my mom that. One of the main things people criticize Piker for, besides the whole champagne socialist thing, which is overblown, is taking criticism poorly. Piker acknowledges while also criticizing the criticism of how he takes criticism. Still, he seems to realize he's made mistakes in the past. He cites ReactGate, the backlash he faced for putting content on stream while stepping away from the camera for extended periods of time. This is so crazy and so niche to talk about on fucking Gentleman's Quarterly, he says with a chuckle. I did not respond well to that at all. I apologized immediately and said I would never watch the critics' videos again, but then people kept hammering it over and over again, and after a while I was just like, all right, well, fuck these people. Now he only watches YouTube videos from people he knows. As obnoxious as his methods are, Piker clearly has genuine convictions. Remember what the web was like back in the 2010s when YouTube was overrun with mini Ben Shapiro's and wrecking blue-haired SJW's compilations? Now there's a cluster of progressive influencers who Piker proudly calls Hasanabi heads. He co-signs Sean the Black, Chris Kunzler, Jam, and overzealots. He's also trying to mentor new establishment dem influencers like Dean Withers and Harry Sasson. I told Dean, well, I don't know why he added Harry Sasson in there. I did talk to Dean Withers in the past, though. I told Dean personally, 1, stop with this liberalism shit. Cut it out. Become more leftist. And 2, try to do things that are not just debate focused, he says. They're not listening to me, so who knows? I think there were more people that I added on there, like Michael from Pennsylvania as well, but I guess they didn't make the cut in print. Some would argue that if the Democrats were smart, they'd go all in on leftist populism and subsidize a Piker-led creator boot camp to help beat back Trump 2.0. But Piker has no faith in liberal politicians. He thinks Kamala Harris, who currently leads in many polls about prospective Democratic presidential candidates, has no shot in 2028. He's not even convinced there will be elections in 2028. I mean, it's moving in that direction pretty hard. All it takes is one big event for Donald Trump, who's been salivating at this, to be like, it's martial law time, Piker says. First, they will take out or erode some of these constitutional protections, whether it be due process, birthright, citizenship, and the First Amendment. Then they'll rebuild the legal system to their advantage in a way that suits their white nativist agenda. Once again, the reason why I appreciate this article is because while it ends up humanizing me and showing me in maybe even more vulnerable settings, and reveal certain aspects of my life, like the death threats and the swatting and all this shit. It also simultaneously does a decent job of showcasing my perspective. See, I knew I had a good reason to hate this article. In all seriousness, I didn't like it from the perspective of a boomer who used GQ. It seems like they didn't respect you, violated journalistic norms about background conversations, but it runs down the real work you do. Yeah, I don't care. And I don't think this is written from the point of like, on HRT, hormone replacement therapy. I have DHT blockers for hair loss that I've been taking for years now at this point. Zinc for the ropes? No, zinc is for sickness, no? I thought it was like for a healthy immune system. Is there a reason why you take creatine pills instead of the powder? Yes, and that is because I just don't mix it with anything. I just down it as pills. Piker grew up in Turkey, developing his leftist worldview against the backdrop of Prime Minister and eventual President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's regime. What is this silent G? That's funny. He moved to America, rushed to frat at Rutgers University, impressed girls, and Nepo babied himself into working for his uncle, Cenk Uygur, who owned the left-wing news network The Young Turks. Piker went full-time streaming in 2020 and has since become the most popular political creator on Twitch, with over 2.9 million followers. Bernie Sanders, AOC, and numerous other celebs have hopped on his stream. His work ethic is terrifying. In 2020, he claims he spent 42% of his time on camera, more than 10 hours a day. I'm an addict, he says. I've been an addict my whole life, so everything I do, I get addicted. Twitch streaming, working out, eating healthy. Piker describes his career as a protracted and so far largely unsuccessful effort to pull the Democrats to be more radical, to be actually progressive. This was my favorite paragraph in the entire article, by the way. Okay, I'm going to start it from the start. Piker describes his career as a protracted and so far largely unsuccessful effort to pull the Democrats to be more radical, to be actually progressive. While he's beloved by many leftists, he's often reviled by liberals, the centrists, whose views are largely reflected by the party leadership. This became especially clear after October 7 Hamas attack on Israel. You have a guy like me, name is Hassan, and I'm saying, no, you don't understand. Israel is still very much the responsible party for October 7, for like 75 years of brutal occupation and apartheid. And people were like, oh, you're a terrorist. And that really hasn't gone away. Last year, Democrats first invited him to and then ejected him from the Democratic National Convention after he interviewed some delegates who were part of the undecided group protesting Israel's war in Gaza. I just eat it from both ends in that issue, he says. You're getting hate from the far right, and you're getting it from the liberals and the centrists and the institutions. So you just have nothing. You only have your community. You only have your grassroots backing. But in recent weeks, with videos of starving Palestinian children flooding social media, more Democrats are speaking out about the war. Piker won't give them credit for that just yet. I'm used to Democrats operating in this incredibly cynical way, he says. So I'm not surprised by this about face, if you can even call it that. Many people aren't even doing an about face. They're mostly just ass covering. Piker is also quick to call out his peers in the manosphere, saying that social media is putrefied into a hate-filled hellscape, worse than the subculture that gave rise to Gamergate, the coordinated misogynistic attack on women in the video game world that was an ignition point for the modern reactionary right. Did I get rated? Why am I getting a shit ton of new followers right now? A lot of people are just majority report rate. Also, wear your max left hat during the next gen giving, if there is one. Oh, the majority report. Hope you had a good stream. Yeah. Hate-filled hellscape worse than the subculture that gave rise to Gamergate, the coordinated misogynistic attack on the women in the video game world that was an ignition point for the modern reactionary right. This rage chamber is thronged by far-right figures like Andrew Tate, white supremacists like Fuentes, and outwardly apolitical podcasters and streamers like Nelk Boys and Aiden Ross, who fawningly interviewed Trump ahead of the election in 2024. I call it vice signaling. These guys, whether they're real villains or not, are presenting themselves as bad people, and people like it, Piker says. Nobody likes cancel culture, but goddamn, that shit was keeping motherfuckers in check. Of course, Piker himself is an edgelord too, eager to breach taboos just on behalf of progressivism. For example, he proposes Nuremberg-style trials for those in the media who he sees as taking part in a propaganda apparatus for the state. He says he told the Nelk Boys straight up that they should be tried. But, Piker continues, there are far more consequential, far more noteworthy figures that deserve to be put on trial than, like, the fucking Nelk Boys. Specifically, he says, New York Times columnist Bret Stephens. Piker may be the product of an often irony-poisoned online space, but his defense of the Palestinians is pure and deeply felt, as it is among large swaths of Gen Z. So he was incensed when Stephens recently wrote that there is no genocide being committed by Israel. Literally 3 days after, like, a Jewish-Israeli Holocaust scholar wrote a New York Times editorial saying it's definitely a genocide, Piker says. Bret Stephens came in hot and was like, no, actually, listen to me instead. On July 15th, Dr. Omer Bartov, a professor of Holocaust and Genocide Studies at Brown University, wrote a Times opinion piece headlined, I'm a genocide scholar. I know it when I see it. A Stephens column, No, Israel is not committing a genocide in Gaza, followed 1 week later. Piker may see mainstream media as propaganda, but he blames prominent online figures for actively suppressing criticism. He says many creators keep silent to avoid retribution. They're fearful of the mass doxing and hate raids they'll incur from some of the top content creators in the space right now. Piker is, for that reason, paranoid, and justifiably so. Sinking back into his chair, he says that years ago during a live stream, he was swatted. Someone had anonymously sent SWAT team to his house. He was arrested, handcuffed, had a gun pulled on me, helicopters, he recalls. I heard something going on outside, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? Is dudes with AR-15s going, get the fuck out? Piker, was widely reported, was also recently detained by Border Patrol when he returned to America from France. He says he was interrogated about his politics, especially as they relate to President Trump and Gaza. Yeah, I mean, this was the first time I openly revealed. This was in many houses ago. So, you know. I said it. I said it in the interview. Long time ago. Of course, it's a constant issue for streamers. And I felt comfortable revealing this because it's been a long ass time. And also on top of that, many other streamers have also personally revealed their experiences, but it's a super common one. And I'll tell you this much. When I was in a different, when I was in that 2-bedroom, for example, when I was away from the camera for extended periods of time, sometimes I wasn't cooking. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Obviously, you keep that shit a secret for obvious reasons. You keep that shit a secret for obvious reasons because, you know, sometimes the chair memes are not because I'm just away from camera for no good reason. Sometimes I'm the one getting cooked. Okay?